Off receiving formation. He holds the NFL record, actually is tied with a couple of other guys for the longest kickoff return in NFL history. 106 yards against the Dallas Cowboys several years ago. This kick a little short. Green 10, 15, 20. Out to the 30, drops the ball.
Took a Cardinal bounce there. That could have been a setback. Get the momentum going for the Redskins in good field position, but fortunately it was fallen on, if you're a Cardinal fan, by a linebacker, Charlie Baker.
Baker coming up with a big play, and the Cardinals retain possession.
I think Stump Mitchell's got a pinched nerve in his neck, Frank, and they probably won't play him the rest of the day, but he should be all right in the future.
Roger was asking about Pat Tilley, and we did check into the status of the Cardinal Pro Bowl wide receiver, and he had back spasms in the first half, and that's the reason we didn't see much of him. Injury time out here, and the man injured is Roy Green.
He got popped, and it was hit in the head when he fumbled, so he's holding his head right now, so hopefully he'll be okay, but he took a real shot.
Cardinals going to wind up a little short of kick returners here with Stump Mitchell already out of the game, and Green, who is their number 2 kick returner, and of course also a starter at offensive end, and occasionally works in the secondary as well. Up on his feet, looks like he's all right. We'll be back in just a moment.
Instead of moving down to get better mileage, maybe you should move up to Cadillac. A 1982 V8 diesel-powered Cadillac, a Fleetwood Brougham, or a DeVille, an Eldorado, or a Seville. You don't have to give up room and comfort like this to get good mileage. The V8 diesel-powered Cadillacs, whichever model you choose.
Best of all, it's a Cadillac.
Roy Green on the sideline, shaking off the cobwebs. And the Cardinals have a 1st and 10 at their 27-yard line as we start the second half of play. They have a 9-point advantage. Wayne Morris on the carry. Out to the 30 for a pickup of 3 yards on the play. Neil Okowitz, number 52, the Redskin middle linebacker, making the stop.
Well, they can't afford to lose Green. He's caught 3 passes, 108 yards, and with Tilley hurting, that leaves Fisher and Dave Steve, number 84, as the wide receivers. Fisher.
The hand is for Stump Mitchell, who's come out of the locker room and is walking back on the bench. And apparently he's going to play some more. 2nd down 7. Cardinals from their 30. Anderson out to the 31-yard line. He does not seem to be running as hard as we have seen him run in the past.
Well, he's picking his way in there, and there's not much room. Dave Butts is doing an excellent job. He's a big man in there. He fills up that middle pretty well. He can mostly handle everyone man to man, and there's Stump on the sideline, and they're double teaming Dave, and he's still holding his ground in that middle.
3rd down coming up for the St. Louis Cardinals. They need a long 5 for the 1st down with the ball at the 31-yard line. Willard Harold in motion. He just came in on this play. Out to Anderson, 30, 35. Nice tackle by Murphy, but not before he picked up the 1st down at the 41-yard line.
Good news from the Cardinal bench on Roy Green. He's doing fine. He's healthy. With the blitz here, it put Murphy man-to-man on Anderson, who was going all the way across the backfield. Murphy had to come back and couldn't get over there quick enough. It's a good concept by the Cardinals, sending him across the backfield, knowing Murphy had to get over there, and they needed the 1st down. He got 8 or 9 yards, and Murphy made a fine catch. Or Anderson, they had more room down the sideline.
Cardinals 1st and 10 at their 41. They lead 26-17. They trailed at the quarter 10-9. Moved in front with a big 17-point second period. Anderson again trying to pick his way through. Gets out to the 42-yard line, maybe the 43. Pickup of 2 on the play. Anderson getting up a little slowly.
Got the Bostic brothers. Joe's playing right guard for the Cardinals, and Jeff the center for the Redskins. Here's Joe, 71, trying to get a block on Malott, number 57. Malott holds his ground, does a good job, turns the play inside, which he's supposed to do, and then the pursuit picks up Anderson right here. Malott is a tough linebacker. He's had a sore shoulder, but he's playing well today.
Roy Green is back in the offensive lineup for the Cardinals on 2nd and 9. Hart going to the sidelines, and Green pulls it down. Out of bounds at the 50. Just short of the first down.
Now Hart put this right out in front. Green was working on Lavender, number 20, and he's got excellent quickness and good hands. He broke it off just short of the first down. He really, with more experience, would have got another yard to get that first down, but he made the catch and sets up a 3rd and 1. Here's Hart back. He drills it out right out in front where you have to have it. Lavender was pretty good position, but Green made a nice catch and fell short of the first down by a yard.
3rd down and 1. Those are the ball just over the 50-yard line. Jim Hart feeds it to Anderson. And he should have the first at the 49, but not much more.
Well, Carl Lurch, number 71, forced the issue right there. He had good penetration. That time Anderson showed some quickness. He knew he had a yard to go, and he got down low and ducked his way inside and got the first down. It looked tough right here. Lurch, 71, does a good job, forces him outside, but then he sees the little crack, and he gets the first down.
And that's all he needed. So it should be another first down for the Cardinals. However, they will measure just to be sure. Doesn't seem to be much question from this angle, but angles can be deceiving. A little more than a length of the ball. You know, Green continues to amaze me as O.J. limps off the field there, gets a rest. A lot of coaches say you put your best athletes on defense, but Green has showed such great hands. You wonder why they haven't given him a shot at wide receiver before. He looks like another Tilly.
Well, of course, Cardinals have had Mel Gray, the quick wide receiver. He's been hurt, and due to the problems at wide receiver, and of course Tilly's been hurt today, that they needed Green in there to give a deep threat. They've had no deep threat without Mel Gray.
1st and 10. Cardinals at the Redskin 48-yard line. Wayne Morris caught by Butts. Never got off the dime. Bacon was there as well, but Butts making his presence felt in the center of that defensive line.
Butts is a ball player, I'll tell you that. He's rugged in there. He's big, and he's played well the last few years, and he's been the heart and soul of this defensive line that the Redskins have put together. With Mendenhall, they have high hopes for. Hoy Bacon is the old statesman in there, and Lorch has had his moments, but Butts is really the anchor of that defensive line.
Butts started a little bit slow after he came over from St. Louis. His first 2 or 3 years with the Redskins weren't much to speak of. But as Roger mentioned, he has really come on here the last few years to be a real anchor. 2nd and 11. Hart drops it off to Harrell. And Harrell is rushed out of bounds after picking up just a yard or 2, no more than that, on the far sideline. Rich Malott, who is playing hurt, injured a shoulder against Dallas a couple of weeks ago, but the Redskins are just about out of linebacker, so he's having a play today. And he made the stop on Willard Harrell.
There's, of course, a lot of similarities, which are obvious because of Gibbs and Hannafin being with Coryell, but the concept they have with the back out in the flat, especially on 2nd down and in the first down area, the quarterback looks downfield. If he's got a wide receiver wide open, if it's a high percentage type throw, he'll take it. If not, he has the back out in the flat with either a guard or center pulling for him, and he's an outlet. And he's got an outlet almost on every passing play.
On 3rd and 10, the Cardinals go with 3 wide receivers. Hart under a lot of pressure, and Coy Bacon drags him down for the sack at the 39-yard line. Somebody missed a block there.
Yeah, Bacon was in a lot of quickness that time.
For 38 years of age, Bacon moves pretty well.
It's an inside move on Keith Workman. Bacon faked upfield, which is his best move, and cut back inside, and Workman just missed the box.
So a punting situation now for the St. Louis Cardinals, who have a 4th down and 17 upcoming from their own 41. And Birdsall drops back to do the punting. Virgil Say is deep. Good rush that time by the Redskins. Say going to let this one bounce, takes a Cardinal hop down the sidelines and inside the 10. That thing took off like a magnet, was pulling it toward the goal line. And the Redskins again start with poor field position, this time at their 9. Timeout. Back in St. Louis after this.
Now there are solar-powered telephone calls. Why? Well, in many of the world's more remote areas, it's highly impractical, if not impossible, to run telephone lines. And since our solar repeaters, which relay the calls via radio wave, get their power from the sun, no lines are needed.
Gee.
No, GTE.
This Bud's for everyone who's in the groove.
It's 5 minutes on the upswing of 5. Outside it's 87 degrees under sunny blue skies. Stay tuned for my man Flash. I'm moving out of here, having myself an ice cold brew.
Yeah, just for you. That distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
All you do is for you.
I know.
Wednesday, they were Hollywood's golden family. They lived the American dream until something went terribly wrong.
Everything will be different.
Haywire.
A short time ago in Atlanta, Joe Montana was leading the San Francisco 49ers. He had the Niners inside the 10. He pulled out, but he threw the ball directly into the arms of Tom Pridemore. And the Falcons defensive back returned it 101 yards for a touchdown. Atlanta now leading San Francisco 31-10. You'll see these Falcons next Sunday, doubleheader game against the Cleveland Browns. Right now, let's send you back to Frank Lieber.
Thank you, Brent. That's got to be one of the longest interception returns in NFL history. 101 yards by Pridemore. And Atlanta really taking charge now in that game with San Francisco and on the way to their 3rd victory. Our score, Cardinals 26, the Redskins 17. And the Redskins have the ball back at their own 8-yard line with a 1st and 10. Following the punt by Birdsong. Theismann, undaunted, comes out throwing. It's Ricky Thompson at the 20, and that should be good for the 1st down. Theismann took a pretty good shot on that play. He's been taking a little bit of punishment this afternoon.
Well, Favron, the linebacker, number 59, blitz and hit Theismann, but he got rid of the ball. He threw it to the outside nice and low. Thompson man-to-man on Carl Allen. Makes a nice grab for the 1st down.
Theismann now 9 out of 14. Here's the shot he took after he threw the football by Favron. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Metcalf, who has not been a factor in this game thus far. If anything, he's been a bit of a negative factor with a couple of fumbles out to the 25 or 26-yard line. So he has not made the celebrated return to St. Louis he had hoped for. Vikings, who showed very little last Monday night, are in front of Detroit 23-14 now in the 3rd period of that game.
They've got Kramer back in there, Frank. He's done a good job.
That was an emergency rush job. Of course, Atlanta with the 101-yard interception return. Up now 31-10. On 2nd and 3, Wilbur Jackson stopped short of the 1st down. One of the few times that's happened. Curtis Greer, number 75, making the stop.
Well, the Cardinals went into this game knowing the Redskins threw a lot, and they had 4 defensive linemen early in the game trying to put pressure on the quarterbacks, thinking they're going to throw more than they have today. Now they're back to their basic 3-man rush with 4 linebackers, and they're doing a better job against the run.
3rd down. Redskins still need a yard for the 1st down, a long yard. They're at their own 28-yard line. Jackson on the sweep, trying to turn the corner. It'll be close, but I don't think so, do you?
It's real close. That's when an official marks the ball. It's going to be that tight.
Lee Nelson and Carl Allen pursuing over there on the far sidelines. See if they bring in the change here. Official time. And apparently we will have a measurement. Theismann's over. He's certainly signaling 1st down. Why do you want to bring him in, ref? Huh? We don't need him, right? I can see from here, right?
Just give it to us.
Joe will get into a discussion, won't he?
Yep. Good noted. Make a sentence into a paragraph.
At least. That's short. Eyes are bad, Joe. Joe looked over at Joe Gibbs and gave him the indication, you know, a foot. He wanted to go for it.
Yeah, he did. It's too early for that. That's why Joe's a quarterback and Joe Theis was a quarterback and Joe Gibbs is a coach.
Connell has come in to do the punting. Mike Connell has done a fine job kicking the football, with the exception of having one run back down his throat by Stump Mitchell in the first half. And the deep man is Willard Harrell, number 39.
Number 72 is out wide. The man that has to get downfield to stop the punt returner. He's only 235 pounds. Dexter Manley.
Harrell fading back to his 20. Straight up the middle, veers to the sideline, flag down. Harrell knocked out of bounds near the 40-yard line, but there's a penalty marker thrown back at the 28.
Well, number 40, Randy Love,
standing there with his hands on his hips, as if to say, not me. Certainly you couldn't mean me.
Well, it's between Love and Collier. Both were in the area of a push or a clip. It's a big swing and field position. Back, they're on the 42-yard line with the first down. They'll be backed up now probably inside the 20. It's a big difference when you're moving an offensive team as far as your play selection when you're inside that 20-yard line.
Illegal block above the waist from behind, number 40. First down.
Now let's see if we can pick it up here. Randy Love, number 40, out of the University of Houston. He's on the left-hand side of your screen.
Well, he's a great specialty man. There he is pushing right back, right there, pushing Dexter Manley, number 72.
Timeout with 6 minutes and 27 seconds left in the third period, and the Cardinals leading 26-17.
Summer's gone, and guess who's just around the corner? But before old man Winter's fuel bills get you, it's Think Pink time. Just enough time for you to get Owens Corning fiberglass insulation and add an extra money-saving layer to your attic. Think Pink time is now. Get your pink Owens Corning today.
From a country that designed the Concorde, there is a car. From the first people to fly so far into the future, now there is a car. Engineered and crafted with a rare feeling for luxury, this car is remarkable. So why drive an ordinary car when you could command the Renault 18i, the newest achievement from Europe's leading builder of cars? Renault, where great engineering lives in great design, at Renault and American Motors dealers.
Frank Lieber with Roger Staubach back in St. Louis. There's the book so far, and Jim Hart. Not a spectacular day from a percentage standpoint, but I would say he's been very effective.
Well, that yards per attempt is in that 10-yard category, and that's excellent. Yards per attempt is really the criteria when you're looking at statistics for a quarterback.
1st and 10 following the penalty on the kick return from the 17-yard line. Anderson, no place to go, and he loses 4 in the play. Back to the 13. Good job that time on the right side of the Redskin defense. Just completely shut the door on him. San Diego now with a 2-touchdown lead over Kansas City. Just checking the NFL record book on Tom Pridemore's 101-yard interception return in Atlanta. That is 1 yard shy of the all-time NFL record, which is 102, set by Bob Smith and held by Erich Barnes and Gary Barbaro. And Richie Pettibone, who is the Redskins defensive coordinator, once ran one back, 101. He was a little lighter at the time. 2nd and 15.
He doesn't look so dark now, Frank.
That's not what I mean, Roger. I mean around
he
the
is
middle.
a little bit bigger.
Yes, he doesn't look like a defensive back anymore, does he?
He's a tough football player. When he was back with the Bears and championship days with Mike Ditka back in '63, Richie's done a good job with this defense. They have some injury problems with Coleman out, and of course Malott is coming back with some shoulder problems, but he's back in there, and they've got a solid defense, but not a lot of depth.
Now they got the 5 they lost in the previous play by Anderson, so we're now looking at 3rd and 10. St. Louis ball at the 17 where this series started. No scoring here in the second half. Hard over the middle. Willard Harrell out to the 30.
That's a big play there. 3rd and 10, and Hart finds the open man. Harrell's man-to-man on the linebacker. Both wide receivers doubled, and Harrell puts a good move, fakes to the outside, breaks back to the inside, and Hart picks him up and gets him out of trouble. Before they had a 3rd and 27, and Hart hit the big 3rd down in the first half, going in for a touchdown. Now he does it again on 3rd and 10, backed up in his own territory, and he beats number 54, Kevin Turner, who had him man-to-man, and he faked it to the corner, broke back to the middle of the field, and that was it. Good play, good pass by Hart.
Hart very cool standing back in the pocket on that last play despite a lot of pressure.
Good protection.
1st and 10 from the 37. Hart back in the pocket over the middle. Steve 50, 40, and down to the 35-yard line. Dave Stieff, who played his college football at Portland State, same school that Neil Lomax went to, and who's been having a little bit of a trouble finding a home here.
Hart's looking around the field right here. Those linebackers are dropping back, looking at the quarterback, and he comes late over the middle. He's looking to the left side. He gets Olkowitz out of position, who came over to take number 89, and of course Hart went downfield to Stieff, and an excellent throw, but he looked off Olkowitz, the middle linebacker, number 52.
Stieff is not quite big enough to be a tight end, and he's not quite fast enough to be a wide receiver, so he's one of those in-between players, but still a handy man to have around, particularly today when Pat Tilley has not been that much used to the Cardinals because of back spasms. 1st and 10 from the 34. Anderson gets it down to the 30 and drives forward to the 29. That last pass play, by the way, was good for 29 yards to Stieff. So the Cardinals driving here late in the 3rd period. 3 minutes left to go in the quarter, and they lead 26-17. Officials mark the ball just inside the 30-yard line. It'll be 2nd down 5. Anderson needs just over 900 yards this year rushing to become the Cardinals' all-time leading rusher in just 3 years. This is Wayne Morris. Needed tried to crawl for the 1st down. Stopped a couple of yards short. At the 27-yard line, he needs to net just inside the 25 to pick up the 1st. So it'll be 3rd down, a long 2.
Kevin Turner 54 and Olkowitz 52 had good pursuit. Morris had nowhere to go.
Tampa Bay and Chicago tied in the 2nd period. Don't forget the Cardinals at Tampa next week, and that's where Roger and I will be. It'll be 3rd straight week you'll have seen the Cardinals.
This is the best they've looked in the last couple of weeks, that's for sure. They're moving the ball very well in offense, and Jim Hart's mixing it up, throwing the ball well. It's a good Redskin defense.
On 3rd and 2, Anderson drives up the middle for the 1st down at the 23-yard line. Big O.J. Anderson.
Good blocking at the point of attack this time. Terry, Stevie number 68, and Brahaney 51, and Bostek's the first time the Cardinals really have made anything up the middle, which is the gut of a defense. If you make things up the middle, you can make things happen in the running game up the middle. It opens the wide game. They haven't, and they haven't been able to go wide. And overall, the rushing game for St. Louis is not very good today.
Pittsburgh really pouring it on the New York Jets. Frank Pollard scoring that latest touchdown on a 2-yard run. Anderson's been held in check today, as well as, well, anybody's held him in check. He has not had historically outstanding games against the Washington defense. Wayne Morris up the middle, inside the 20 to the 19-yard line. 50 seconds left in the 3rd quarter as the Cardinals continue to drive. This drive started back at the 18-yard line. Following a punt, there's the time ticking away here in the 3rd period at Busch Memorial Stadium. Beautiful fall afternoon.
The Redskins have held opponents to 113 yards passing per game, and so far St. Louis has thrown for 220. That's been the difference in offense for St. Louis.
2nd down 5. It'll be the last play of the 3rd period, and Wayne Morris jets up the middle and has another first down at the 11-yard line as the clock ticks down the final 5 seconds of the third period of play.
Well, Brahaney, 51, did a good job and got Butts, blocked him and turned him out, and Morris shot up the middle.
That's the end of the third quarter with the score. The Cardinals 26 and the Redskins 17.
There is just one place where you can go from high school to flight school. The Army.
All that you can be. Oh yeah. Keep on reaching. Keep on growing.
Today's Army has more pilots than the largest airline.
All that you can be.
Not bad for a rookie.
'Cause we need you in the Army.
Nobody thought the Duck could do it, but Duck Dugan did it. Looks like a stroll-light night.
Looks like a stroll-light night. Looks like a stroll-light night. When things are going right. Looks like a stroll-light night. Looks like a stroll-light night.
Stroll-light, a great tasting beer that doesn't fill you up.
Looks like a stroll-light night when good times come along.
Next weekend on CBS Sports Saturday, he was one of the most feared men in boxing. Now he must prove himself again and again. Roberto Duran, next weekend on CBS Sports Saturday.
Well, after a wide open first half offensively, things slow down to a crawl here in the third period as neither team scored. And St. Louis leading Washington heading into the final quarter now 26-17. And the Cardinals driving for what would be a very important touchdown. Jim Hart spending the time between periods conferring with his head coach Jim Hanifin. Hanifin, a very popular choice last year as the new head coach to the St. Louis Cardinals. He of course had been the offensive line coach under Don Coryell and a great favorite with the players. 1st and 10. St. Louis is at the Washington 12-yard line. Wayne Morris out of bounds at the 9 for a pickup of 3. Morris was just a 5th-round draft choice out of SMU when he came up, and a very durable back. CBS Sports Saturday, don't forget the big fight. Roberto Duran, second step in his comeback trail against the Italian welterweight champion. Actually, he's the European welterweight champion, making his first start in the United States, Luigi Mentillo. And Duran's in good shape, I hear.
He's in excellent shape. He's going to need it. It's going to be hot out in Las Vegas. It should be a tough fight, but Duran is ready for it, he said. Talked to him the other day.
Second down from the 9. Morris to about the 6-yard line. Cardinals have to reach, well, call it the 2, just inside the 2 to pick up a first down. So it's 3rd down, 4 for the first, 6 for the touchdown.
I didn't really talk to him the other day, Frank, but I read a clipping. Was going to have breakfast for him, but he didn't show.
He did not show. Stood you up, did
he? But he is really in tip-top shape, and he's anxious to make a comeback from the Leonard fight. His last fight was a good one, and he's on the road again.
Our director, John McDonough, did talk to him and verifies that he's in good shape. Even watched the fight the other night. Big play, 3rd and 4 from the 6-yard line. Over the middle, touchdown to Steve.
Well, I'll tell you, Hart had number 81 Fisher and Steve looked like they had a mix-up. Either Fisher didn't go deep enough. He brought Parrish in there, and Hart threw it. I don't think he saw Parrish, and he snuck it in there on Murphy. Murphy was confused, I think, when Fisher was coming across. They had a mix-up. Watch Murphy, number 89 right here. Of course, he gets blocked out a little bit by Lavender, number 20, who was on Fisher. But there was a little confusion on the Cardinals' part, but Hart just drilled it in there anyway, and Steve made a nice catch.
And threw the ball into the 3rd deck. He's got a pretty good arm. Donahue adds on the extra point.
Plus a pretty good find.
And the Cardinals really take command with that long touchdown drive. They score in the 1st minute of the final period to lead it by 16.
I think we're lost.
I know we're lost.
We'll never get there. We're going to be late. We're going to be late.
At times like this, it's nice to have a front-wheel drive Toyota pulling for you.
It's just over this hill. There it is.
The Toyota Corolla Tercel, Toyota's lowest priced car. The Toyota Tercel, a car that pulls its own weight.
And a little bit more.
What a feeling, Tercel, Toyota.
Let the Radio Shack TRS-80 Model 3 business computer increase your manager's productivity. So when you need that report,
tomorrow by 9.
You'll get it. Because the TRS-80 provides instant information access, simplifies planning and projections, prepares error-free documents through word processing. It's the professional, affordable management tool. TRS-80 Model 3 from $24.95 only at Radio Shack, the biggest name in little computers.
Monday, Brentwood hosts a slumber party.
I think that we should serve potato chips, pretzels, hot dog.
Might I suggest a dry red wine?
Jim Hart, who has just rifled his third touchdown pass of the afternoon, 33-17. However, keep in mind we have almost a full quarter to go. And remember what happened in Green Bay last week. They were ahead 17-0 heading into the final period. Metcalf gets it out to about the 22 or 23-yard line.
Surprising what an offense can do to a specialty team also. They're fired up and coming down strong.
Well, again, specialty teams have played a big part in this game, mostly on the negative side for the Redskins, who have allowed the Cardinals a 50-yard punt return for a touchdown. A lot of penalties in the first half, but that's eased off somewhat on both sides here in the second half of play. But obviously now Theismann will have to open up. He's only thrown it 14 times today, in contrast to 48 each of the last two games. Wilbur Jackson.
That's a bit surprising. They're back in with their two tight ends and two wide receivers, which has done a good job for them running the football. But 33-17, they're going to have to get the ball in the air and hit some big plays.
Tim Carney, number 56. Ken Green, number 37 on the stop. They've been sending Jackson to the left an awful lot. They must have spotted something there in the Cardinal films this week. Wilbur Jackson has now gone over 100 yards rushing.
He had about 80 of those yards in the first quarter, didn't he?
He did, yes. I think we had him at 86 yards at the end of the first quarter. Second down, 7. Theismann trying to set up the screen. Does so. But not much running room on the far side.
Russ Brown, number 69, got out there, and they tried to juke him a little bit, but he was right there and planted his feet and did a good job.
Tight end screen to Greg McCrary, number 84. Unsuccessful. It'll be third down at 11. And the Cardinals go with their version of the nickel defense, and the extra defensive back is that handyman Roy Green, who has been everywhere today.
And Worley comes in.
Third down, 11. Possession down here for the Redskins, back at their own 20 and trailing 33-17. Almost picked off. Ken Green, number 37, thought he had a touchdown there. Intended for Art Monk, and the Redskins will have to punt. To the hand now for the Cardinal defensive unit as they come off the field. And Connell comes back in to do the punting. Next up for the Redskins, the Eagles in Philadelphia next week, and though without Wilbert Montgomery, who is out with a muscle pull, you would think the deck would be stacked against the Redskins. Lost their first two at home and aren't in very good shape here in the fourth period today. Connell fumbles the snap and is down at the 12-yard line. E.J. Jr., number 54, with the big rush. But Connell simply bobbled that snap. And by the time he got it under control, he was dead.
Well, he might have looked up and saw E.J., but he just dropped the ball right there, and it was too late. He couldn't do anything. Stafford Mays, number 76, was in there, and, of course, Jr. threw him to the ground.
So the Cardinals getting ready now to apply what could be the coup de grace to the Washington Redskins, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Your day is long and your work is hard, and your boots say Acme. Your boots say Acme. Your boots say Acme. Your boots say Acme, the real West.
This month, Denny's Grand Slam breakfast is once again only $1.99. 2 large eggs cooked in real butter. 2 sausage links, plump and juicy. 2 strips of bacon, crisp and sizzling. And 2 buttermilk pancakes, hot and fluffy, served with hot syrup and whipped butter. It's Denny's Grand Slam breakfast, but the special price only lasts through the end of this month. Denny's. You'll like our prices and you'll love our food.
Frank Lieber with Roger Staubach back at Bush Memorial Stadium. Cardinal cheerleaders hooping it up, and well, they might, with their team leading 33-17 and threatening to turn another Redskin turnover into a score. Ball is at the 13-yard line of the Washington Redskins. Hart, who has thrown 3 touchdown passes. Think he'll come out firing here?
Well, on a turnover, it's a good time to try to hit a big play.
Anderson up the middle to the 6-yard line. Pickup of 7. It'll be 2nd and 3. Well, Anderson's starting to pick up some yardage. You know, one thing that the Redskins defense has done well today is slow him down.
They've slowed him down. That middle's been strong. It's been a little bit vulnerable here the last part of the 3rd quarter and the start of the 4th quarter.
The way things are going, I don't think those 250,000 are going to be back in Washington to welcome the Redskins home after their flight. It has kind of fallen apart defensively, especially teams, fumbles, penalties. Same old story. Not much there this time around, as Anderson is slowed at the line of scrimmage. Coy Bacon, number 79, had him in the grasp. 3rd down, still needing 3 for the 1st down, and San Diego is starting to pull away, it looks like, from Kansas City, even though that game is just in the 2nd period. Chargers get that offense going. They are awesome.
Yeah, it's without Jefferson.
What do you think of Jefferson in Green Bay, if he does wind up there?
Well, they'll have 2 of the real premier receivers. James Lofton's excellent, and Lynn Dickey's coming into his own. He's a fine quarterback, so they'll have 2 excellent receivers and could make a move in that Central Division.
3rd and 4 from the 6-yard line. They have to net the 2 for the 1st down. Here's Anderson, cuts back, driving for the goal line, and he's over.
Well, he did a good job there. He started to his outside, saw the inside chance, and he took it, and he went north and south and bowled into the end zone. Watch him. They bottled him up pretty much there. He went to the outside, saw the inside move. He was going for the 1st down. Then he went all the way for the touchdown. Here's another shot of it. Butts gets blocked out real well by Deerdorf. Comes back inside and runs over Jarris White, number 45.
O'Donoghue to try to make it 40. 11 minutes, 16 seconds left to play in the football game. Cardinals lead it 40-17. We'll return after this word from your local station.
Why is television the way it is? Some answers from Hollywood and Madison Avenue when 60 Minutes unveils a brand new story tonight on CBS.
This is CBS. CBS sports coverage of the National Football League has been sponsored by Mercedes-Benz, engineered like no other car in the world. Natural light beer, brewed with only natural ingredients for a clean, refreshing taste. And by Goodyear, makers of Arriva. Even its footprint tells you it's different.
Well, this crowd, which was booing the Cardinals in the first half when they got behind, obviously elated right now as St. Louis has run up a 40-17 lead over the mistake-prone Redskins. And Neil O'Donohue ready to kick off again. Got a flag down as Metcalf returns it from 2 yards deep. Stopped short of the 20-yard line by the Cardinals specialty teams.
That flag's going to go against the Cardinals. That was thrown back into territory of the kickoff. Someone was offside.
Cleveland, Cincinnati. Things have tightened up in that one at Riverfront Stadium, 13-10. Cleveland with a 3-point edge. And talk about tight games. Detroit
Offside
coming on.
On the kicking team. Free kick with a 5-yard penalty.
So the Cardinals will kick it over from their 35, and the Redskins, you figure, have to come out with the better field position than inside their 20-yard line, all things being equal.
And this is when it's a tough situation for both of these teams coming in this game. 0-2, the psychology can really work. You can talk yourself into being a worse team than you are, or you can do something about it. Today, St. Louis has done something about it. Washington now is going to have a problem being 0-3. The overall NFC is very equal. No one is out of the race. Last year, a division leader was 9-7. Joe Gibbs has got a big job in his hands, not only to beef up the team mentally, but he's got to get some production on offense, and defensively today they had their first breakdown of the season.
You know, psychologically, you got to start. You fumble, you make penalties, you start thinking about that, don't you? And it really gets to you. Then you make more. That's a tough thing to overcome. Houston and Miami, a lot of close games in the NFL today. O'Donohue ready to kick it again. 11 minutes and 7 seconds left to play in the game. Metcalf out to the 10, to the 15. They'd have been better off taking the first kickoff.
That was a great kick by O'Donohue. He kicked the heck out of that ball, and of course number 57 for the Cardinals was down there in great shape. John Gillen, their young rookie, and he set him back to the 15-yard line.
Theismann has been saddled with poor field position all afternoon. Joe, of course, has been operating a couple of games with a jammed right thumb, which he said he hurt off Mike Hagman's helmet in the Cowboy game 2 weeks ago, and it was still swollen pretty badly last week. But he says it is getting better, slowly but surely. First and 10 from the 14. Theismann to Jackson. Pick up a 5 to the 19-yard line, and then running into Tim Carney, number 56. Carney, hard-nosed inside linebacker.
You know, you got to start getting a feel for when you have that alternate receiver out in the flat. You've got to get a feel for looking downfield and getting out there at the last moment, or you look out there, fake it out there, then go downfield. Joe's rushing that play out to the side too quickly. The linebackers are in good position. They're not getting much yardage out of it.
11 out of 17 for 180 yards for Theismann. Thompson has caught 4. Again goes to Jackson, this time on the right side, and Jackson is dropped after a pickup of just a couple of yards. He is dumping that thing off rather quickly.
He had no choice that time, though, Frank. Rush Brown, number 69, and Pollard, 82, put the pressure on him. So you have sometimes you don't have a choice if the rush is in there, but if you have a choice, you can look downfield, get the linebackers to drop, and then dump it out, and you got a center or a guard out in front of you, and it's a good play. The concept is solid. You got to get used to it, and that's part of the system Joe Gibbs has put in. You got to get used to it.
Third down. Redskins need 3 for the first down. Nose of the ball just beyond the 20. And Theismann forced to go to the pass, picks up the first down. Harmon over the middle is out to the 45-yard line.
Harmon's a real reliable receiver. He's a good route man. He can run excellent routes. This time he was man-to-man on Calvin Favor on number 59. He made a move to the outside, cut back inside, and he had the whole middle of the field. There he is. Favor and slipped a little bit, but Harmon made an excellent move. Good catch and good run with the football.
Carl Allen is injured. Well, the Cardinals, we've got a timeout for injury here. You shake it up a little bit. John O'Mahundra, the St. Louis trainer, comes out to take a look at it with 9 minutes and 7 seconds left to play in the game. And the Cardinals very much in command, leading the Washington Redskins 40-17 and about to pick up their first victory of the season.
Hot, fiery, cold, cranking dirt.
hard working.
AC Delco.
You know, I don't put just anything in this car. This is an original, and that's the way I keep her. With AC fire ring spark plugs. When you can go with the original, why mess with anything else? Yeah, that's hot firing.
Cold cranking.
Dirt fighting.
Road handling.
Money saving.
Hard working.
AC Delco.
Hey, Frank, gonna wager on the race?
For a case of beer?
Sure. What's your brand?
These boats will cover 200 miles before this wager's settled, but it's worth the wait, because it's for Michelob Light, that rich, smooth taste you can compare to any beer you like.
You never beat us that bad before.
We never raced for a whole case of Michelob Light before. Michelob Light. Compare the taste.
Redskins have a first down at their 44-yard line as play resumes here in the fourth period. Monk wide to the right side. Theismann has one setback, and that's Wilbur Jackson. Walker in motion. Monk at the 35, 20, 15, and down to the 10-yard line. Like one of the Cardinal defensive backs lost his footing, Ken Green. However, there's a marker back at the line of scrimmage, and they're going to bring it back. Well, if the Redskins wouldn't have bad luck, I guess they wouldn't have any luck at all.
Yeah, that's frustrating right there. An excellent play to Monk. Monk leaped high, made a nice catch, and of course he can run with the football. He's got good speed. Theismann went to him all the way. He's looking right at him. He drills it in there. It's high, but Monk, he has to get over a linebacker. So it was a good throw by Theismann, and Monk's tall, and he can leap. Good athlete.
73 offense on a takedown. First down.
See if we can pick it up here. That's Mark May, their #1 draft choice, number 73.
There's a takedown when you really pull the guy to the ground.
That means you tackle it.
That was a takedown.
So the ball moves back to the 34-yard line. It is now 1st and 20 for the Redskins. Clock, of course, the ally of the St. Louis Cardinals at this point, with 8 minutes and 51 seconds remaining. Monk in motion across the backfield. Theismann backing straight out. Sideline throw. This is almost intercepted. Roger Worley thought he had one.
Yeah, he had a beat on that all the way, and he would have scored.
You've seen Worley coming at you before.
Worley's picked off a few from me, but here's Theismann throwing it to Say, and Worley just jumps right in front of him and drops the ball, or he would have scored.
It'll be 2nd and 20. You know, going back to your theory on the offense here of the Redskins, are you saying in effect you don't think that Gibbs and Theismann are quite in tune yet?
I don't think so. I think the philosophy that Gibbs has is excellent. Theismann's a fine quarterback, and I don't think any quarterback can all of a sudden adjust to a new system as sophisticated as that system is. You want to do things automatically. If you start thinking about some of the mechanics, it affects your overall play, and I think Theismann on some occasions is thinking more about tendencies, and he has a great play right down the middle to that's the first play all day that Terry Metcalf has made. It's been a positive one, an excellent play. Theismann drilled the ball right into the seam on the zone, and they were really in sync that time. Here's Theismann. He's back, he's looking around, but he's got Metcalf down the middle of the field, and he throws it over. Roy Green, number 25, and Metcalf brings it in, and Worley comes over late.
A lot of pressure on Joe Theismann on this play too as well, so he did a good job getting rid of it as the Cardinals were all over him.
Well, the middle of the field is the tough area in this zone. You got two safeties going back to the outside, and Roy Green was responsible for him down the middle. It looked like Roy got mixed up in his coverage.
That's the big moment so far for Terry Metcalf on his return to St. Louis, that pass play, which covered 52 yards. And now the Redskins have a first down at the 13-yard line. Jackson dips inside, looks for the hole, and carries it down inside the 5, and we get another marker. Penalty marker down on the play. Cardinals haven't beaten the Redskins in St. Louis since 1975 as the penalty goes against Washington once again. In that game in 1975, that was the game where Mel Gray caught the disputed touchdown pass and went into overtime eventually, and Jim Bakken won it with a field goal. It's the last time the Cardinals have have beaten the Redskins here 6 years ago.
That was a costly loss for the Redskins that year also. That put them in a tough position to get into the playoffs. If they would have won that game, of course, it would have made a difference in the season.
Illegal use of hands, number 68 offense, first down.
Russ Grimm, who was not expected to play today, guilty of the penalty. Detroit has moved in front of Minnesota 24-23 in that seesaw battle in the NFC Central, and Miami ahead of Houston also in the fourth period. First down 17 from the 20. Theismann over the middle. That's 6 points.
Oh.
Great
That's
catch.
a great catch
Quite
by
a collision
Harmon. He
by
knew he
Rick
was going to
Walker.
get hit.
The tight end Rick Walker, number 88, pulling that one down, and the Redskins have their first score of the second half.
I saw the 8, Frank. I thought it was Harmon, but it was Walker. He knows he's going to get hit. Theismann also lays it up nice. Walker turns around, catches the ball, and holds on to it and scores.
Took a shot there from Ken Green, number 37. I think at that point all Green was trying to do was dislodge him from the football. Mosley on attack on the extra point. 7 minutes 43 seconds remaining. Well, the Redskins, of course, have their highest point total of the year, but a lot of good it does at this point because they still trail 40-23 with 7:43 left in the game.
Look out, world. Look out. Here comes Ford.
Trying to disguise it at all. They're going for the onside kick here. Mosley squirts it over to the far side. Touched the Cardinal and went out of bounds at the 45-yard line, 47-yard line of St. Louis. So the Cardinals going to put it in play from there.
Well, an onside kick team is what the Cardinals had in there. They had their people with real good hands up on that front line. Not their big people, but people like receivers and defensive backs that were ready for that onside kick.
Cardinals will have a 1st and 10 at their 47. Speaking of Mosley, you know, he is now one of only 2 straight ahead kickers left in the National Football League. The other being Rick Danmeyer of Minnesota. They are a vanishing breed.
Mosley's a heck of a kicker the last few years. Last year was a bit of an off year for Mosley, but he's still been just a great kicker through the years. He's 2 out of 4 this year in field goals. He had an excellent preseason.
Cardinals will probably try to stick on the ground here and run this clock down some. Anderson caught behind the line of scrimmage and dropped for the loss back at the 44-yard line. Kevin Turner was in there quickly. Number 54. I remember when the Cowboys played the Redskins every year. Cowboys used to go up there and demand that they check Mosley's shoe because he had that oversized looking.
Well, he can wear a lot of socks. He's got a bunch of socks on. He's got a big leg, but his shoe is legal.
Neil Lomax, who starred last week in the Cardinals loss to Dallas, back to the role of rookie with clipboard today. 2nd and 13. Blitz. Morris did a good job dancing around the blitz and got it past the 50-yard line to the 49 in Washington's end of the field, which was set up a 3rd down and 6. He's had a good afternoon. That's his 12th carry of the day for 60 yards rushing. He's outrushed Otis Anderson. There's the Cardinal Brain Trust, the signals. Now they use 2 coaches too, apparently. One as a decoy and the other to actually flash the signal. Sometimes they change by quarters just in case anybody's got any ideas about stealing signals. 3rd down 6. Hart trying to keep the drive going. Pass incomplete, intended for Harrell over the middle. So St. Louis will be forced to go to the punt.
Now the Reds.
Coming up next weekend on CBS, the schedule of games includes Washington at Philadelphia, Atlanta at Cleveland as a first game. Washington fans, of course, will see the game against the Eagles. St. Louis fans will see Atlanta, Cleveland. And then the second game, St. Louis, Tampa, in Tampa, and Roger and I will be there. Or you'll see the Giants and the Cowboys. And, of course, right after this game, speaking of the Giants, you'll see them take on the New Orleans Saints in the second half of the CBS doubleheader today. 40-23, Cardinals in command here. Birdsong in to do the punting. Redskins 10 men on the line of scrimmage. They could use a block punt here. Virgil Say is back. High end over end kick. Fair catch signaled by C, who goes down on one knee. In fact, both knees to pull it down at the 13-yard line. So Joe Theismann comes back to direct the Washington attack. He's 15 out of 22 for 277 yards.
Clean water, more precious to life than oil. But it too is becoming scarce because of man's pollution. But now there's something that's helping to clean water all over the world. A unique wastewater treatment system made possible by this special plastic developed by Phillips Petroleum. There are other energy sources besides oil, but there's no substitute for water. Caring for your car and more. That's performance from Phillips Petroleum.
Saturday, catch the Love Bug on the premiere of Walt Disney, starring Dean Jones and Michelle Lee. It's freewheeling fun with the Love Bug on Walt Disney Saturday.
Frank Lieber with Roger Staubach in St. Louis, and the Steelers are wiping the Jets out. That'll be the Jets' third straight loss and the Steelers' first victory. And Cleveland will have won its first. If this holds up, they lead Cincinnati in the fourth quarter. Our score 40-23. Cardinals over Redskins. Theismann somehow trying to get the Redskins back in the game. Pass complete to the tight end, number 88, Rick Walker, who caught the last touchdown throw.
Now Theismann's had a good day, Frank. He's hit 15 of 23 for 16 of 23 now for 277 yards. A lot of it's been here in the last quarter, but in the early goings, he was hitting most of his passes. They were moving the ball on offense, but again, defensively, they gave up a lot of big plays, and until late in the fourth quarter, the offense pretty well stopped the second half.
Of course, you put 23 points on the board, you figure you should be in the ball game, if not leading, with any kind of defense at all. But they haven't had that today. Pass incomplete over the middle. It was there, but Say couldn't hold on to it. The rookie, number 80.
That was a good throw. Say just took his eye off the ball and dropped it.
There's the figures on Joe Theismann. Probably throwing less and enjoying it more. Anytime you get up and throwing above 40 passes a game, chances are you are way behind in a football game. It's amazing that he has thrown 96 passes the first 2 weeks. And the Redskins, up until this game, been able to generate just 2 touchdowns in offense. Third down, 8 from the 14-yard line. Theismann throws this one into the ground. And we get a flag down.
We're going to get Carl Allen, number 27, was messing around with Monk there, and I think the official saw him pulling on his jersey.
And that, of course, will carry with it an automatic first down. See if we can pick it up on Monk.
Defensive holding, 27, defense, first down.
Well, I'd say
I believe he was all over it.
I think that was a good call.
That's what you call messing around, huh? Final score, Falcons 3 in a row as they beat San Francisco 34-17. They get a test next week against Cleveland, and then the following week they get Philadelphia. On 1st and 10, Theismann, nice catch. Thompson at the 40-yard line. Ricky Thompson from Baylor University getting up a little slowly. He took a shot, but he hung on to the football. And the Redskins have a first down at their 41. Neil Lomax is warming up. So Jim Hart may be through for the day with this thing pretty much in command with 4 minutes and 45 seconds left to play. If you haven't seen Lomax, I think you've got a treat in store for you. He's got a good, strong arm. He's very impressive against Dallas last week. Made some typical rookie mistakes. But I think Roger will agree he's got a great future in the NFL. 1st and 10. Sideline throw by Theismann to Monk. Breaks a tackle, gets across the 50. and has another first down at the 48-yard line of the St. Louis Cardinals. I imagine, though, they'll give him all of those he wants here to keep the clock going.
Well, they're playing loose. They're letting him have the short stuff, but Theismann's throwing the ball well. He's throwing the ball all day in some tight spots, and Monk, of course, has caught some passes that have been meaningful. One big one that was called back, but Monk is being double teamed by St. Louis, and it's a little bit tougher getting the ball to Monk than it would be to Thompson or Harmon. But Monk is really a fine big target to throw to.
Bucks and the Bears, as you saw, tied at 14, first and 10. Redskins. Theismann pumps it once, goes long and beyond everyone. Intended for Warren, the tight end, down around the 10-yard line or so. You know, we mentioned Neil Lomax, and now you look at the Redskins sending in the signals. We mentioned Lomax. I'm curious to get your thoughts on him after watching him last week against Dallas.
Well, he had all the signs of a great prospect. He does have a strong arm. He had an amazing amount of savvy for being in such a big game against a fine Dallas Cowboy football team. And until the second half, he really had the Cardinals in the game almost all the way, making big plays. The pass to Roy Green, he had a couple of passes drop that were critical passes, and overall he had 5 or 6 drops. So he had a good day, but he really showed he has a bright future.
The heir apparent. We're calling him down St. Louis. Theismann down the sideline, intended for Monk, and a good play from Roger Worley, number 22, who got the left hand in there and knocked it down. Worley very much appreciated by this crowd, who are very sympathetic to him, and the fact that he has been benched now.
Well, he's been a great player for him for so many years. He's also very popular off the field. He does a lot of work in the community with organizations, from the Fellowship of Christian Athletes to multiple sclerosis. He's just very active in carrying off the field, and people appreciate that. He's been a great all-pro through the years, and they still feel he's got the physical ability to play football, and the benching is somewhat of a question mark as far as some of the players are concerned.
Third down and 10. Redskins from the Cardinal 48. Big rush. Theismann flushed out of the pocket, fires downfield and completes it to Monk. Well, the first down at the 34-yard line. Nice catch and a good scramble by Theismann.
I think he was throwing this to Ricky Thompson, number 83, and Monk cut right in front of the ball. Here's Theismann, has to get outside. Roy Green, number 25, was blitzing, but Monk cut to the outside. There's a mix-up there. They shouldn't be that close together, and he cut in front of Thompson, who thought he was going to catch the ball. Thompson was looking over there and saying,
"That's my ball, man." First and 10. Too little, too late now for the Redskins. Roy Green checks into the secondary. Washington from the St. Louis 33, 3:24 left in the game. Theismann rolling out of the pocket, throws it on the fly and out of bounds, as Thompson makes the grab at the 21 for another Washington first down.
That was the same play to the other side. This time Monk hooked up and didn't go all the way to the sideline, and Thompson came back and caught the ball.
3 receptions today for Art Monk. One of those was a 79-yarder for a touchdown. But the Redskins offense, which was very impressive in the first half, certainly has quieted down considerably in the second half. 1 touchdown so far. We did not have any scoring in the third period. 26-17. Metcalf, 20, 15. Metcalf down to the 10-yard line. And the Redskins get another first. Crowd reacting to Metcalf as he flipped the ball back to the official. Had something to say, one of the Cardinal players. 4th period score. Cleveland and Cincinnati with a field goal separating them as Terry Metcalf leads the game. Our score, the Cardinals 40 and the Redskins 23. It is a first down at the 11-yard line. Washington at least trying to make the score respectable. Theismann, incomplete. Thought for a moment that Carney had an interception. Boy, he just picked the pocket of the intended receiver, Warren, the tight end.
He's trying to hit Warren in that seam in there. It's a good place to hit a tight end down around the goal line. This time Carney was waiting outside and then cut in front of the ball. Good job by Carney.
It'll be 2nd and 10 with the nose of the football just outside the 10-yard line. Monk wide to the right side. Thompson is split to the left. Thompson, great catch and a touchdown for the Redskins.
Well, that was a catch right there.
Thompson really was. He spun all the way around.
He's got sticky fingers, and he can make catches like that. That time, Theismann really threw the ball a little bit short, but he spun around and caught it. Just one of those quick passes when you have a defensive back right up on top of the receiver. You try to get it over his head, lay it over his head. It was out to the outside. Thompson spun around. Nice catch.
So Ricky Thompson on the receiving end of the touchdown, which makes it 40-29. And Mosley can make this a 40-30 ball game with 2:24 left to play. Timeout here at Bush Memorial Stadium in St. Louis in a high-scoring NFL game. Cardinals lead it by 10.
We want to make you smile.
Well, welcome back. I see you brought a friend. My boss hasn't smiled the whole trip. I'm back. I think you'll like our beds.
Big room.
Everything all right?
Just fine. Call me for dinner.
In an hour. We made him smile.
Come to Holiday Inn where your smile sits. We're #1 in people pleasing.
Hey, make a love light for the winning team, okay?
You guys would do that for us?
Would a bunch of guys really go at it this hard just for a beer? Well, consider it's Michelob Light, and that means a rich, smooth taste you can compare to any beer you like.
You guys never played like that before.
Hey, we never played for a Michelob Light before.
Michelob Light. Compare the taste.
Next weekend on CBS Sports Saturday, Roberto Duran continues to fight his way back to the top as he faces European super welterweight champion Luigi Minchillo next weekend on CBS Sports Saturday.
Well, there's the story. 2 minutes and 24 seconds left to play. And the Cardinals leading the Redskins 40-30. Who was it? Yogi Berra said once upon a time, it's never over till it's over. And strange things could still happen here. Mosley, again, obviously, going with the onside kick. Took that same bounce, didn't it?
Got that down.
And the flag drops, which means that the Cardinals will get the football out of bounds.
He's kicking the ball a little bit too hard. It goes out of bounds. I believe they bring it back. The last time they let it go because the defense
touched it.
The defense touched it.
No, the receiver touched it. It's not defense.
Well,
we're on special teams, right?
It was Roy Green, number 25, so he's offense and defense today.
So they move it back to the 30-yard line. That took 3 seconds. The Redskins have both a artificial turf and a grass surface to practice on at home. But you would think on artificial turf, Mosley would figure you wouldn't have to kick it quite so hard. Get that bounce every time. See what he does here. Better bounce, but right into the arms of Dave Stieff of the Cardinals, who will take over at the 41-yard line. And it looks like Neil Lomax. I don't know if this was Tom Landry. I have to believe he wouldn't be sending it his second quarterback right now with a 10-point lead with 2:15, 2:18 left.
Well, I agree with you. Lomax is going to basically hand the ball off, and probably don't want Hart to, with the knee he's had, the problem he's had, to take a chance on getting injured. But they'll play it pretty close to the vest right now.
Trying to pick up a first down or two on the ground and run the clock out on the Washington Redskins, who have scored twice here in the last period. Willard Harrell. No gain on that play. the Redskins stop the clock here. 2 minutes and 13 seconds. That's their first timeout of the second half.
Well, the reason they stopped the clock before the 2-minute warning, they can use one timeout now. They'll have the 2-minute warning, and then if they stop St. Louis, they'll get the ball back with 2 timeouts left. So they'll be in pretty good shape.
Lomax and Hart involved in that huddle along with Jim Hannafin. The executive producer of NFL football is Terry O'Neill. Our senior producer, Charles H. Milton III. Today's game produced by Jim Silman and directed by John McDonough. And we thank you, gentlemen, for putting up with us. A lot of people behind the scenes to make an NFL telecast work. We hope you've enjoyed the pictures. We had some very exciting football, wide open offensive football this afternoon. 70 points scored between these two teams. 2nd and 10 for the Cardinals at the 41-yard line of the Washington Redskins. Neil Lomax at quarterback, the young rookie, giving to Harrell over the right side for a couple of yards to the 38-yard line. And again, the Redskins have stopped the clock using their second timeout with 2 minutes and 8 seconds. Things keep going. They'll be out of timeouts before we get to the 2-minute warning. 1 left. And Joe Gibbs and company will.
I don't know why they took that one, Frank. I would have let it run down, because on 3rd down you have that change of possession that'll stop the clock. So they could have had 2 timeouts left with just under 2 minutes. Now they'll have 1 left, and the 2-minute warning won't help them so much.
Joe Gibbs doing a little pacing, wondering when, oh when my first NFL head coaching victory come. Doesn't look like this week, barring a miracle. Well, Miami has beaten the Houston Oilers down in the Dome 16-10. You know, Earl Campbell was hurt going into that game. I don't know if he played or not. So the Oilers suffer their first defeat of the year. Atlanta beat San Francisco 34-17. And Cleveland won its first today, beating Cincinnati by a margin of a field goal. Our score 40-13. Pittsburgh game is now final. It is 3rd down and 8 for the Cardinals at the Redskin 40-yard line. Harrell on his 3rd straight carry. Don't go out of bounds, says Jim Hannafin, because that stops the clock again. Of course, we got the markers down all over the place. So that in effect gives the Redskins a free timeout.
Yeah, it does. They will be able to use a 2-minute warning, and then they'll have 1 timeout left.
It'll be
Illegal
4th.
use of the hands. 89 offense, decline, 4th down.
4th down and 8. Cardinals at the 40-yard line will have to punt. And there's Greg LaFleur, the tight end who was guilty of the offense. LaFleur picked up just a couple of weeks ago when Doug Marsh, their regular tight end, was injured. He was a high draft choice of the Eagles. Pretty good receiver. Virgil Say is back to receive, and Birdsong will do the punting. This has been the longest 30-second period on the clock I can remember. It was 2 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the game about 15 minutes ago. And now we're down to 2:02, and this will get it to the 2-minute warning, if nothing else. Redskins will get the ball with 1 timeout left. Big rush, the all-out rush to block it. He got it away and sends it on the fly into the end zone.
That was close.
So now comes the official 2-minute warning to the benches, with actually 1 minute and 56 seconds left to play in the game, and the St. Louis Cardinals leading the Washington Redskins 40-30.
If you're torn between a sports car and a truck,
we got a surprise for you.
Toyota's two-seat sports machine. Bucket seats, full instrumentation, and a 5-speed overdrive transmission that delivers mileage you may not expect. What is it? The 1981 Toyota SR5 long bed.
But you can call it the sports car of trucks.
Oh, what a feeling.
Sports Strike.
Toyota.
Tell them what's going to happen tonight on CBS, Roger.
Big night on CBS. 60 minutes, Archie Bunker's place, one day at a time. Alice, Mel is going to Las Vegas. He gets taken to the cleaners while he's out there.
How about that?
Jefferson's Trapper John, MD. Big night.
If you make the plane, you get home in time to see it all. 1st and 10. Redskins with the football at the 20-yard line. 1 timeout left. They're down 10. And 1:56 to go. Doesn't look nearly as impossible, though, as it did a few moments ago.
It's been a strange 5 or 6 minutes. The Cardinals have pretty well cashed in on defense, and the Redskins have scored 2 touchdowns, and 1:56 to go. A crazy play here and there, and the Redskins could conceivably pull this thing out. Take an unusual circumstance to do it. 1 timeout left. Joe Gibbs over there hoping for a big play on this series. They could get things moving with a big play and use that timeout. Then the onside kick would be their last hope.
Big rush, and Theismann running back around his 5-yard line delivers the football to Metcalf, who steps out of bounds at the 25-yard line after a pickup of 5 yards. There's the Redskins signaling system. Gibbs in the middle gives the coach the play. And he's going to signal it in. There it is. That means hurry up. Let's get moving, right? 1:49 to go, and we're down 10.
What you've got to do, Frank, is call 2 plays in the huddle. If they complete the first one inbounds, got to run up and get another one off. If it's a deep pass, run up and throw it out of bounds. I'd conserve that timeout.
Figure everything will be geared toward the sideline here.
Go deep over the middle and get something in the middle. Metcalf, again, no place to go, and runs out of bounds. Good move on Metcalf's part that time. Carl Allen relaxed, and he should have pulled him down, made him use that timeout, but he relaxed and let Metcalf get out of bounds.
Don Breaux and Joe Bugle, they are not making any bones about which coach is signaling in the play. Looks like the decoy is maybe tired, huh? Theismann might be calling him in the 2-minute period. They're just decoying, both of them decoying over there. Well, Joe's approaching the 40 mark in the attempts department again. He'll be right there before the game's over, I'm sure. Over the middle to Monk, breaks a tackle at the 40. Oh, great move at the 50. And Monk down to the 44-yard line. Here's where you got to throw one out of bounds now. Clock is down to 1:20. 1 timeout left for the Redskins. They need to get in quickly. Theismann going to Metcalf. Metcalf heading for the sidelines, and this time they bulldog him down before he gets there. Well, Carl Allen's the same man over there. This time he learned his lesson from the last play and got him before he got out of bounds. They had to use that timeout. So that's the Redskins' last timeout with 1:02 left to play in the game. And Theismann will come over and appear in your picture to talk to Joe Gibbs. As well as the Cardinals played in the second half, getting 40 points, it's still a little disappointing to have the other team run over you the last 5 or 6 minutes of the game, and you don't savor the victory as much as you'd like. When you had them under control, you let them out. It's a psychological problem when you win a game, but you let the other team control you the last 7 or 8 minutes. So Theismann returns to the huddle with 1:02 to work with. Let's turn into a rather warm afternoon now here at Bush Memorial Stadium. I detect Gibbs shaking his head a little bit, saying, what do I have to do? I get the offense shaped up and the defense collapses on me. The passing game's been excellent today for the Redskins, and the running game in the first quarter and a half was surpassed the season totals. this is what it's like to be a head coach in the NFL. You lose your first 3 straight for the first time since 1965. And you've got to go to Philadelphia to play the NFC champions. Those are just excellent figures by Theismann. 4 touchdown passes. Joe looking long, and then he's still going. And gets out of bounds. At the 30-yard line, stopping the clock with 53 seconds to go.
Now he wanted Monk downfield. Monk had good coverage on him. Roy Green lost him for a second, but Ken Green was right back there, and Theismann knew that he was in interception problems. He would have thrown that football. Here's the scramble play. It's a design play. He drops back, and he has people out to help him to the outside, and he gets hit right there. Number 67 for the Cardinals makes the hit, but Theismann gets away and does an excellent job. Bill Acker would like to have that tackle back.
Not going to look too good in the films. Theismann looking over the middle, and this is picked off, and that's going to be it. Roy Green. Cardinals take over with 42 seconds to go.
Well, there's a Redskin on the field right now. Theismann's mad at himself. He shouldn't have thrown that one.
Jeff Bostic was the injured Redskin, being tended to down to the 40-yard line. That'll do it for Washington, I'm afraid. Quite a day for Green. He's caught him on both sides.
Well, Theismann had not a whole lot of time. He had some problems from Bill Acker that time, and he just threw it hoping there wouldn't be a defensive back there, but Roy Green was on the spot as he's been all day.
So Green accepting congratulations of his mates. Bostic still being tended to down on the field.
It's probably a record somewhere. The last few years anyway of a man catching a pass on defense and offense in the same game.
You might notice the Cardinal player who is kneeling down next to Bostic, number 71. That's his brother, who of course is an offensive lineman for the St. Louis Cardinals. There he is.
I ran into Mrs. Bostic too. She was downstairs, and she said she had some, of course, mixed emotions, which were obvious today. Who to root for? She was just glad her sons were both on the offensive unit and wouldn't be playing against each other as far as on the field activities.
Now, you hate to get hurt anytime, but particularly on the last or next to last play of a game.
Yeah.
There's Joe Bostic of the Cardinals. And Jeff getting up very slowly. A lot of the crowd has already left. Joe Gibbs going to come out and take a look-see. Jeff is on his feet, requiring some assistance here. Minnesota has just kicked a field goal, gone in front of Detroit by a score of 26-24. Our score 40-30. All the Cardinals have to do is run a play, and that'll be it. That looked like a knee.
That's not a pleasant sight right there, Frank. It's a knee, and it looks like it's pretty serious. He just doesn't have any strength in that knee right now.
Redskins been through an awful lot of offensive linemen thus far this year. Boy, they miss Joe Washington too, don't they?
They do. He's a great receiver for him, and also gives them a lot of speed out of that backfield. And with Wilbur Jackson coming around, they'll have some healthy running backs if they get Joe back that can move the football and catch it also.
It impressed me so much about Washington, his great desire. That game we did against Dallas, 10 receptions, and then late in the game, in a very hot afternoon, running down Dennis Thurman, having to run about 90 yards to catch him on an interception. That's going to do it.
Kansas City's coming back against San Diego.
This one's over. as the Cardinals have their first victory of the year. And Jim Hannafin goes across the field to shake hands with his old friend Joe Gibbs. And I'm sure he'll say to Joe, maybe next week, huh? This is Frank Lieber for Roger Staubach from Busch Memorial Stadium. The final score, the Cardinals 40 and the Redskins 30. Coverage of the National Football League will continue after this word from your local station. Okay, we're going to go try.
Why is television the way it is? Some answers from Hollywood and Madison Avenue when 60 Minutes unveils a brand new story tonight on CBS.
This is CBS.